Close your eyes. Envision yourself on a big city interstate. It's 7:30 in the morning. You're late. Cars are zooming by, weaving in and out of traffic like nobody knows what's going on, and everybody's lost their minds. All of a sudden, hundreds of cars in front of you slam on their brakes. You look up, there's an 18-wheeler coming up behind you, and you're thinking, oh, please, please be able to stop, please, please, please. Keep your eyes closed. What do you feel in your body? Not descriptive words like nervous or anxious. What sensations? Any tightness, constriction, pressure anywhere? This is what it feels like when your body is telling you you may not be safe. Open your eyes. You might be thinking, oh, okay, what does this unpleasant experience have to do with communication? It's relevant because for years, this is how I felt when I tried to speak up for myself in certain situations, usually situations involving men. It's also relevant because there's a good chance that you or someone you know are dealing with something similar. Here's an example of how it might look. For me, I would be in a meeting at work with my coworkers and my supervisors, and I would know the answer. I would have a really creative solution to a big problem, but I couldn't get the words out. I could not get the words out. And it wasn't just at work. My smoking hot husband, right there, is awesome. He's loved me since I was 16 years old, and I couldn't get the words out to talk to him about simple things like, sweetheart, would you clean up the 572 breadcrumbs you left on the counter when you made that sandwich? I just couldn't. And I would be thinking, come on, you're a professional broadcaster. Good grief, you're great with words. You even have the awards to prove it. Yeah, I was great with words when it came to telling someone else's story, not when it came to speaking up in my own life. I finally hit a point to where I didn't want to, and I couldn't live like that anymore. So I went on what ended up being a nearly decade-long journey. I took courses on confidence. I took courses on getting to know yourself. I took courses on healing core wounds. I hired coaches. I worked with psychiatrists and therapists. It was a lot, but it paid off because I got answers. One of the early things I learned was how to listen to my body. Your body never lies to you. Your mind, it can play verbal gymnastics, justifying, convincing you of what should be true, but the body keeps it simple. Those nonverbal cues are straightforward. This is safe. This is not safe. This is a yes. This is a no. One of the other things I learned was that I had some interesting, truly unhelpful beliefs about how I, as a woman, should behave around men. Once I became aware of that, the memories started coming back to me. Memories of my mother deferring to my father, pretending that he was the one in charge of the family business, when he couldn't have told you where the checkbook was. I'm looking at some of you, particularly you younger people, and you're like, checkbook? It was the 80s, people. My father, he was aware my mother knew more than he did. If someone asked him anything about the business, he would usually just say, ask Faye. But time after time, I would watch my mother put on a show pretending Daddy was the one running things. She would present him with the situation and ask him what they should do. Then we would all sit back and watch as she strategically fed him information bit by bit, then pretend that the conclusion he came to was his own. He was the man of the house. My experience from birth was that I shouldn't take the lead. I should dumb it down. No wonder I wasn't comfortable speaking up around men. I've talked with other women about this, and they have their own stories about the type of conditioning that tells them when a woman should keep her mouth shut, when she should strap that muzzle on. And it is very clearly not just me and the women I know. Research from the Robert H. Smith School of Business at the University of Maryland found that women do indeed remain silent in the workplace more often than men. One of the lead researchers said, one of the reasons is that they don't have, throughout their lifetime, many experiences of speaking up because it's much more encouraged in men than women. So many women don't speak up because it's unfamiliar, which makes it uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good, physically, emotionally, or mentally. Well, I am here to let you know that it doesn't have to be like that anymore. Before I go any further, I'd like to address those of you who are not women, or you are women but you don't struggle with speaking up. This is also known as the "why should you care" portion of the program. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, women make up more than 50% of the workforce. They are already valuable and contributing team members. Can you imagine the increase in productivity if they are able to get rid of this obstacle that keeps them from consistently sharing their experience and expertise? I also want you to avoid going through what the people in my life went through and what I went through. I went so long biting my tongue that it hurt our relationships. They started noticing my silent resentment. They could feel me pulling away, and they certainly noticed when the pressure built up and I snapped. That led to a lot of bone-deep regret. It would be so much better for all of us if the women in our lives feel safe speaking their minds. We can fix this problem by having what I call compassionate conversations. It's the process I developed with the techniques I use to help myself get the words out. It's a kinder, gentler, more effective way of approaching communication. Taking the time to identify what's making it hard for you to speak up, then using powerful communications and mind-body techniques to make it easier. This approach starts training your mind and body that it is safe for you to speak up. And that is important. In fact, it's key. One of my biggest aha moments came when my therapist explained to me that when your mind and body are telling you you're unsafe, the part of your brain that deals with problem solving and words starts shutting down. That means when you don't feel safe, it is physiologically harder for you to find your words. We're going to soothe the mind and body so that your mind and body can work together to get the words out of your mouth. Let's talk about the 5 C's of compassionate conversations. The first C stands for confidence. We're changing the way we see confidence. So often, what the women I work with bump up against is this belief that confidence is this smarmy swagger that we see so often. You know the type of people I'm talking about. They believe that the one who talks the loudest, the fastest, the most aggressively, is the one who wins. A lot of women don't operate that way. And they judge themselves for not being that type of aggressive. They think of it as a flaw. And it's simply not true. The one who wins is the one who effectively expresses herself in a way that accomplishes her goals. No metaphorical blood needs to be shed here. I teach that confident communication is expressing yourself, asking for what you want, while being the most effective version of yourself for each situation. That aggression, it is not necessary. In fact, research has found that women tend to have a more intuitive, cooperative work style, and they're very in tune with other people's needs and emotions. That same research found that is a skill set that works exceptionally well for them and their teams. So there's no reason for you to be ashamed of being yourself. Being you can be your superpower. The second C stands for clarity. It is important to be clear on what you want from your conversations well before you ever start talking. All truly powerful messages are focused. What do you hope to accomplish with this conversation? Figure it out and then keep it in mind. The clearer your thoughts are, the less anxious you'll be. It is also super important to get clear on what common ground you share with your conversational partner. I am going to lean in so hard on this one. People will only do what benefits them or what they think will benefit them. People will only do what benefits them or what they think will benefit them. What does the person you're talking with want? Remember when I said that being you could be your superpower? Right here is where being highly in tune with other people's needs and desires comes in handy. If that describes you, you are exactly the type of person who's going to be great at figuring out what other people want. So, figure out a way that what you want will benefit them. You'll feel more confident because this way, you're not begging for a favor. You have something to offer them. The third C stands for make it conscious. You can only fix problems you're aware of. Compassionate conversations are all about figuring out what's tripping you up so that you can move through it compassionately. This step brings in something that is extremely important for confident, effective communication, and that is practice. You want to practice what you expect to say. Then take it a step further. Practice what you expect to say out loud. Let's do a partial practice right now. I'm calling it a partial practice because this time we're not going to talk out loud because there's so many of us in here and that would be really distracting. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our imaginations and just say it out loud in your head. I want you to think of a conversation you'd like to feel confident having, or a conversation that you wish had gone better. Go ahead and close your eyes. Imagine you're having that conversation. Feel what your body is telling you as you move through the experience. Imagine as much detail as you can. What are you seeing? What are you smelling? What are you hearing? Most importantly, notice when and where you feel discomfort. Is it that twisting, pinching sensation in your stomach when you reach the part where you're asking for a raise? Is it that tightening in your throat when you reach the part where you first walk into the room and open your mouth to speak? Breathe into that discomfort. By breathe into it, I mean notice it, place your attention on it, and gently breathe. Then observe what happens. Often, just acknowledging the sensations without judgment, without trying to get rid of them or push them away, can lead to them dissipating on their own. And that can lead to you feeling free to speak up. Open your eyes. It will come as no surprise to you that sometimes life can be really, really, really hard. And so sometimes, we need a little extra something to make it through. Well, this next technique I'm about to share with you is fantastic for soothing the mind and the body. As you're doing your practice visualization, take your fingers and actually go ahead and do this with me. You see your collarbone right here, right underneath this little fleshy area. Take your fingers and gently tap right here. Continue having your pretend conversation and continue tapping as you move through that pretend conversation, especially the parts where you notice discomfort. When you use this technique in the future, you can tap through as much or as little of your practice visualization as you'd like, but try to give it at least 60 seconds for it to work its magic. Okay. The fourth C stands for collect information. You want to take what you learn from each conversation and apply it to the next. People and situations tend to repeat themselves. Like Bob. Ugh, Bob. So, Bob said something snarky when you talked with him yesterday. Now that you're having compassionate conversations, you're paying attention and you recall that he has said something snarky the last 15 times you talked with him. And each time, it kind of threw you off balance and, it undermined your confidence. Well, you're now preparing for the snark, and you're practicing ways to deal with it. That's going to soothe the part of you that gets anxious and tense when you have to deal with Bob. Remember, it is all about soothing the part of you that wants to rebel when you speak up and advocate for yourself. The fifth C stands for, once you have the conversation, celebrate! Give yourself credit for being courageous enough to take a close look at your life and take action. So many people talk about being different or doing something different, but they don't ever take action. When you have compassionate conversations, you are taking powerful action to create the life you desire and deserve. You'll notice that not once during this talk did I suggest you become someone else or even emulate someone else. I have encouraged you to use your unique skills and ability to show up in your life as the most effective version of yourself possible for each situation. That's because there is nothing powerful about pretending to be something you're not. The most powerful thing you can be is you.